First up, Kayla decides not to complain. Now I'm playing, but I actually would like to highlight something that seems to be headed in the right direction. Well, Saturday it was announced that Wes Unseld Jr. had agreed to a 4-year deal to become the next head coach of the Washington Wizards. This comes a week after the Hawks officially named Nate McMillan as the franchise's full-time head coach. Now, Willie Green is still on staff in Phoenix, but he's expected to fill New Orleans' vacancy after the finals wrap up. So far, there will be 13 black head coaches in the league next year. 6 of the 7 available coach positions at the start of the summer have been filled by African-American coaches, like Ime Udoka in Boston or Jamal Mosley with the Magic, and we just love to see it because this is by no accident. The NBA, progressive, yes, in the sense it has empowered its athletes to speak out on several issues, but it has also struggled to clean up its own side of the street and address the disparity and diversity when you look at players, to coaches, to front offices, and up top, ownership. See, the NBA has had this glaring double standard when it comes to coaches in the NBA and what qualifications seem to have less or more emphasis for people of color, like playing experience. Let me preface this by saying, though, it might help. Playing in the NBA should not be a prerequisite for coaching, and in most cases, it has not been one for, well, coaches who are not black. The 2013-14 season saw 14 black coaches in the league. Yes, we have reached that type of height before, but how did we get from there to a total of 7, half that number, heading into the 2020 season? We can look at things like NBA playing experience. So in the 90s and early 2000s, it was the norm. A majority of head coaches had played in the league before, and when you look at that pool, it was a lot more diverse. Heading into this 2020 season, just 9 coaches with NBA playing experience. That is the lowest percentage ever since the NBA-ABA merger. Like I said earlier, playing in the NBA is not a prerequisite to be successful in this league. Just ask Greg Popovich about that. Now, we love a good how a coach made it to the sidelines in the most unconventional of ways storylines, but it feels as though a certain type of coach only fits the main character, which is one of the issues when it comes to the process in hiring. What was required for some isn't required for others. For coaches of color, resumes have to be stacked, and if not the NBA, D1 seems to be the bar, whereas guys like Brad Stevens, D3, and Stevens has had this unusual opportunity within the Celtics organization to fail upwards, but I'm gonna leave that alone for now. According to Kevin Pelton of ESPN, the league has seen just 2 black NBA coaches who did not play at least Division I or Pro, and both of them only serving in an interim role. At a time, it seemed as though black coaches were getting second looks if their career had touched the association. However, over the past years, it has become more apparent that front offices weren't and aren't really checking for that stuff anymore, which in theory is good. But what was kind of an unfair in had kind of pushed diverse qualified names out of the pool of consideration. And I hate to bring up Chris Finch nearly every single episode of The Shift, but when we talk about process and practices, it's the perfect example. Then you have to talk about when black coaches actually get hired. It is no secret, the room for error is small. And the numbers show that the chance at a second shot elsewhere on this level, should things not work out, it's even smaller. Let's face it, the sell to a player of sticking with a team while it develops into a contender is rarely packaged with a black coach. There's also this weird notion that black coaches on staff are only good at player development and managing personalities. While we have seen undeniable benefits that can come from players from a league that is predominantly black, with 74.2% of players identifying as black, coached by people that look like them, managing personnel isn't all that black coaches can do. And we are getting this point made for us in real time during this NBA playoffs. With the NBA Conference Finals, 3 out of the 4 coaches were black. And 3 out of the 4 coaches, I would argue, would know exactly what to do with Giannis Antetokounmpo late in crunch time situations. But I digress. Yeah, sure, they won, but you're not gonna convince me that they did so because of coaching. I'm sorry. Now, in the finals, the Suns are the only team in the NBA to have both a black coach and general manager in Monty Williams and James Jones, respectively. Jones was recently announced NBA Executive of the Year, while Williams coached the Suns to the second best record in the league and their first title since 2007. We have heard the mic'd up moments.
But I want you guys to know this before that happens. Like, this is therapeutic for me to be around a group like this. I gotta tell you guys, man, I love you. I do.
Man, you would run through a wall for Monty, and his success, along with that of Ty Lue and Nate McMillan, haha, Indiana, Hopefully we'll keep applying the pressure. I mean, keep the unconventional path to an NBA sideline story alive, but please let's switch up the main characters from time to time, include women and more people of color in the mix to fill eventual vacancies.